restaurant near the Cheonggu building. I stood there until P-Dog came out and took me inside. My parents told me later that I looked like I was being dragged off somewhere.
Suga was 17 years old at the time. He was a bit too young to leave his hometown of Daegu to come up to Seoul just because he wanted a career in music. But in Korea, it is difficult to grow into a mainstream artist if one doesn't happen to be in Seoul.
I was in a dance crew in Daegu, and there was a studio I worked in. But the pie was just too small. We might have an event gig from time to time. Sometimes we were paid in tickets for our performances, not money. Not that we were doing it for the money necessarily, but I wonder if we should have at least been paid enough to buy a meal. And a lot of times, we weren't paid even that.
By the time Suga entered Big Hit Entertainment, he was already a paid songwriter working in Daegu. He attended music hagwons to learn MIDI, was introduced to composers, and went from studio to studio doing all kinds of work. Back then, there was no arts high school that taught mainstream music in Daegu, which is why for a time he studied classical music with an eye on entering arts high school that way. He learned different kinds of music from various musicians, composing everything from school songs to trot. But for a teenager dreaming of a career as a professional musician, especially a teenager obsessed with hip-hop, his prospects outside of Seoul were slim.
Hip-hop wasn't very mainstream in Daegu at the time. This was when people made fun of rappers, calling them hip-hop warriors. And when the hyungs I made music with did ciphers in the park, we'd get maybe 20 people as an audience. And our first one had 2 people.
It was a fairly reasonable choice for Suga to head to Seoul, in retrospect. Indeed, Suga and J-Hope had deliberately made the decision to enter the idol audition process before joining Big Hit Entertainment as trainees. J-Hope had undertaken auditions with other companies and already had specific dreams of debuting as a singer by the time his dance hagwon recommended him for an audition with Big Hit. As Korean idol groups became explosively popular in the 2000s, not only domestically but internationally, teenagers aspiring to stardom flocked to famous dance hagwons that not only taught dance but also introduced promising students to entertainment companies in Seoul. This was also how J-Hope's initial training was outsourced to Gwangju before he entered the dorm in Seoul.
The Big Hit A&R people came to Gwangju and sat in on the auditions in person. I danced for them and then did 8 months of outsourced training after I succeeded in the audition. Once a month during this training, I made videos of myself dancing and singing to send to the company.
Meanwhile, Suga, who was already a professional songwriter, became interested in a particular person at Big Hit Entertainment.
I always liked the songwriter Pang Si-hyuk. I really liked the Tiara song, Like the First Time, and learned that Pang had written that song. He wasn't on television or anything back then, but he was already famous as a songwriter among people in the know.
For teenagers with limited insider knowledge of the entertainment industry, trusting a company recommended by one's dance hagwon or taking an audition because a favorite songwriter happened to work there was the best course of action. Even before the incredible success of today's BTS, Big Hit Entertainment in 2010 was already a well-respected company, more than worthy to be a young musician's dream company. Pang Si-hyuk, the current chair of HYBE, established Big Hit in 2005, and by the time J-Hope and Suga had signed on, he had raised a string of successful artists like 8, J-Lim, and 2AM to stardom. 2AM's Can't Let You Go Even If I Die, in particular, composed by Bang, was a massive hit that rocketed the team to supremacy. Big Hit Entertainment was hardly a small fry in the scheme of things, with a stable of successful artists and the owner and main producer of the company well known for his ability to consistently crank out hits. But the team Big Hit was trying to build at the time, with trainees like Suga and J-Hope, the team that would become BTS, was proving to be something of a new challenge for Pang Si-hyuk. The making of a K-pop idol group is like the production of a Hollywood blockbuster. Everything converges into a single effort, including capital, planning, advertising, and PR, and even the brand value of the company itself. In spite of this, The industry was...
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.